Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Graham.
May the peace of the risen Christ be with you.
And also with you.
Let's sing together the chant, Jesus, remember me, and let's sing it through 3 times, which equals 6 times the same words, if you get what I mean, because it's twice through the same 2 lines. Jesus, remember me. I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land where we gather today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, and I would like to pay our respects to the elders past, present and emerging, and pledge our ongoing commitment to reconciliation and justice for First Peoples and others in this land. Let us sing to the Lord, let us make a joyful noise, let us come into his presence with thanksgiving and songs of praise. The Lord is our God, our shepherd. Let us listen to God's voice. Let's bow our heads for prayer. Let us pray. Good Shepherd, we come before you as we are, each one of us a unique individual. We ask you to mould us into your image. Help us to be your sheep, your good sheep. We ask this of you, our Lord and Shepherd. Amen. Let's stand and sing This Kingdom.
Righteousness revealed, the Son of Man, the Son of God, His kingdom comes. Jesus, redemption sacrifice, now glorified, now justified, His kingdom comes. Expression of God's love, the grace of God, the Word of God revealed to us. Jesus, God's holiness displayed, now glorified.
Welcome everyone on Zoom, on video, on the phone, and here in person. Today is the last day of the year. The last day of the liturgical year. The last day of our year of Matthew, the lectionary year A, when most of our gospel readings come from the Gospel of Matthew. Today is also the last day that Jay Robinson leads worship up at Murrumbina, and hence Mandy's up there to share in that last one. And this Sunday is also known as the Feast of Christ the King, or the Reign of Christ. So when Pope Pius created this feast day back in 1925, it was observed on the Sunday before All Saints' Day a few weeks ago. But it got moved to this Sunday before Advent back in 1970, when a number of denominations took on this 3-year lectionary thing for the first time. So it's a significant feast day in the Church's calendar, and of course next week, Advent. Welcome. Let's bow our heads for our prayer of confession. Let us pray. Lord, forgive us for the times when we've neglected your word and our relationship with you. You lovingly reach out to meet the needs of the lost, the hungry, and the sick. When hard times strike, we can sometimes selfishly hold on to what we have, putting our own needs first. Forgive us for turning a blind eye when we've seen someone we could have helped. Forgive us when our own personal worries cause us to become self-focused only. And forgive us when we've shrugged off helping hands reaching out to us. Give us grace to recognise you at work in others. Lord God, hear our prayer. Amen. The Lord our God says, I will seek the lost. I will bring back the strayed. I will bind up the injured, and I will strengthen the weak. Indeed, the Lord is good. God's love and mercy are forever. Sisters and brothers, our sins are forgiven. Thanks be to God. Let's stand and sing The King of Love, My Shepherd Is.
Mine
Morning, Charlie. How's your week been this week?
Tough.
Tough week this week?
Yeah.
What can you tell us any of the tough stuff that's happened this
We
week?
lost basketball by 1 point.
Oh, 1 point. Oh my goodness. So close. Yeah.
And so we were versing a quite easy and hard team because the team was the top level.
Wow. So you had a good game getting that close to them.
Yeah.
It didn't quite knock them off. Oh. And have you watched any good movies this week?
We watched one last night.
What was that one that you watched last night?
Monkey King.
The Monkey King.
Yeah.
Wow. What's a Monkey King? What can you tell us? What did the Monkey King get up to? What was he like?
Naughty.
He was a naughty Monkey King. Okay. Did he play jokes on people, or did he just want to have fun himself the whole time?
Naughty.
Naughty. Okay. And did he learn anything or change at all during the movie?
Not really. He was mainly just the character that was wanting to fight like the other people that were really easy, like the devils.
Oh my goodness. He just liked to fight like the others, like the devil?
Yeah.
Wow. So in what way was he a king? Did he have some power?
Not
or did he...
really, but he defeated because there was the background was China or Japan, and there was a Japan queen or China queen, and there was a king, and they were all in the top level, and then the monkey defeated the queen, and then he tried to defeat the king, and then he defeated both of them, but then he got stuck in a big bedrock.
Oh my goodness. Quite involved. So the Monkey King was trying to be king above the king of the country and the queen of the country. The Spirit King there.
He was dead.
And he did learn humility by the end? Did he become humbled by the end? You learned something? Well, it's really interesting that you just watched that last night, because our theme today is Jesus, the King of Kings, over all kings. And we're thinking a little bit about what sort of king Jesus is. And then next week we get into our season of Advent. And you can see we've already started putting around a few of the symbols for Advent, just to be prepared, because there's so much going on, to be prepared for Advent. But and then 4 Sundays to Christmas. But today we celebrate Christ the King Sunday. And in a moment we're going to sing a song about that King of Kings, and I'm going to ask you to do something a little bit silly with me again that we did a year or two ago. Before that though, today also is Stir Up Day. Any guesses what gets stirred up on this day traditionally? Christmas puddings, Christmas cakes, get all the fruit into the bowl and start stirring it up. And if you're like my grandma, you did the whole thing. You stirred up the big batch and then you let it hang for a few weeks in these cloth bags. And it was all an enormous, huge process for 5 or 6 weeks. And then we had this fantastic pudding for Christmas.
You could head down to Woolies, Graham.
We could head down to Woolies. And actually, the sad news is that I was supposed to get to the Royal Nut Company during the week and get the kilo of their lovely mixed fruit. But I got there yesterday after they shut at 2 p.m. We better hear this story about Joyce.
I love Joyce Raymond's story. Every year she made a pudding, a large pudding, and she used to have, she used to ask all her grandchildren, and they used to come and stir or what their wish was. And so this happened every year up till last year. I think she was still making this big Christmas pudding, and I always wanted a piece of it. Well, look at it, yes. So I thought she was amazing. But she used to have a special relationship with the grandchildren and ring up and ask them, now, what's your wish to put in the Christmas pudding?
Oh, wow. Is Joyce online? Can you see Joe? She is. Was that true, Joyce? Give James a nod.
This is Joyce's magic Christmas pudding. And if the grandchildren couldn't be there, she'd say to them, you can tell me what your wish would be. I won't tell anybody, and I'll have a stir for you. So everybody got to have their wish, whether they could get there or not.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good, wasn't it? All we got was 5-cent coins. We thought that was all right. So the Monkey King, who was naughty, what he wanted was to be the big king, wasn't it? And Jesus, the King of Kings, in the story today that we're going to hear, what Jesus wants is for people to look after those who need looking after. So we're going to hear a story about how what matters, what's really important to Jesus is our actions. When somebody needs help that we can help, that we do our best to do that. That's our King of Kings that we celebrate today. And the song that we have goes, He is the King of Kings, He is the Lord of Lords, His name is Jesus, 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 Jesus. Oh, He is the King. We're going to sing that once all together. And then do you remember, you were quite little the first time I did this with you. We asked you to run around the church through the hub and back to here while we all sing, oh, and see if we can do it in one breath. And if you can run around while some of us have still got this first breath. Thank you, Richard. Are you feeling fit? Would you like to do it on your own, or would you like me to go with you? Then I'll do it with you. It'll mean people will have to hold their breath a bit longer. So my back started loosening up yesterday, so I'm... I think we'll change that. I'll stay here and sing. You can run with Charlie. Once through, all together, and then the second time, can you go on the O? Is that all right? And charge around and see if we can do it in one breath. It's very deep theological themes in all of this. We will stay sitting. He is the King of Kings. He is the Lord of Lords. His name is Jesus, 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 Jesus. Oh, He is the King. He is the King of Kings. He is the Lord of Lords. His name is Jesus, Jesus. You ready? Go. Oh, He is the King. Oh, well done. Round of applause for Charlie and for the band. And thanks for telling us about the Monkey King. It's an interesting one, comparing that with what Jesus is saying to us today. So thanks, Charlie. And have you got more basketball to go before Christmas? Another round or two? Yeah, okay. So let's hope you can keep up the good form and have a win next time, maybe. Yeah, cool. Before we hear that parable from Jesus, the Old Testament reading, that comes from Ezekiel. And the context is that Jerusalem has been conquered. Most of the Israelites have been rounded up and taken into exile. For 32 chapters of Ezekiel has been warning of God's judgment upon them for neglecting their responsibilities as God's people, particularly neglecting the care of the poor and the weak. But now that they are suffering the consequences, God says, I will bring them back to their own land. I will find them a place to rest. And like a good shepherd, it's a word of comfort and hope in a dark time. But it also comes with a word of warning and motivation. In various ways, God says through Ezekiel, I will look after my weak sheep, and I will judge the strong sheep who pushed aside the weak ones, butting them away. And then our gospel reading resonates strongly with these themes. We can see why the lectionaries put them together. Because in the gospel reading, Jesus portrays himself as a king and shepherd who judges people according to their actions towards the weak and needy. Thanks, Charlie.
Ezekiel, chapter 24, verses 11 to 16 and 20 to 24. I am the sovereign Lord. Tell you that I myself will look for my sheep and take care of them in the same way as shepherds take care of their own sheep that were scattered and brought together again. I will bring them back from all the places where they are scattered on the dark, disastrous day. I will take them out of foreign countries, gather them together, and bring them back to their own land. I will lead them back to the mountains and the streams of Israel, and will feed them in pleasant pastures. I will let them graze in safety in the mountain meadows and the valleys, and in all the green pastures of the land of Israel. I myself will be the shepherd of my sheep, and I will find them a place to rest. I am the sovereign Lord who have spoken. I will look for those that are lost, bring those that have wandered off, bring back those that have wandered off, bandage those that are hurt, and heal those that are sick. But those that are fat and strong I will destroy, because I am a shepherd who does what is right. So now, I, the sovereign Lord, tell you that I will judge between you, strong sheep, and the weak sheep. You push the sick ones aside and butter them away from the flock. But I will rescue my sheep and not let them be mistreated anymore. I will judge each sheep and separate the good from the bad. I will give them a king like my servant David to be their one shepherd, and he will take care of them. I, the Lord, will be their God, and a king like my servant David will be their ruler. I have spoken. The second reading is Matthew chapter 25, verses 31 to 46 from the Good News Bible. When the Son of Man comes as King, and all the angels with him, he will sit on his royal throne, and the people of all the nations will be gathered before him. Then he'll divide them into two groups, just as the shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He'll put the righteous people at his right and the others at his left. Then the king will say to the people on his right, "Come, you that are blessed by my Father, come and possess the kingdom which has been prepared for you ever since the creation of the world. I was hungry, and you fed me, thirsty, and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, and you received me in your home. Naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you took care of me. In prison, and you visited me. The righteous will then answer him, when, Lord, did we ever see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you a drink? When did we ever see a stranger and welcome you in our home, or naked and clothe you? When did we ever see you sick in prison and visit you? The king will reply, I tell you, whenever you did this for one of the least important of these followers of mine, you did it for me. Then he will say to those who are left, away from me, you that are under God's curse, away to the eternal fire which has been prepared for the devil and his angels. I was hungry, but you would not feed me. Thirsty, but you would not give me a drink. I was a stranger, but you would not welcome me into your home. Naked, but you would not clothe me. I was sick and in prison, but you would not take care of me. Then they will answer him, when, Lord, did we ever see you hungry and thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and we would not help you? The king will reply, I tell you, whenever you refuse to help one of the least important ones, you refuse to help me. These then will be sent off to eternal punishment, but the righteous will go to eternal life. Here ends the reading.
Let us pray. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our rock and redeemer. Amen. Arnold Schwarzenegger has published a new self-help book. You'll be getting that for Peter for Christmas, I imagine, Charlie? It's called Be Useful, 7 Tools for Life. The last 30 pages are about the idea of having a responsibility to others. And there's an interview with him published in the Age's Good Weekend magazine this week. And it was fascinating to me, having followed his life since the 1970s when I was an aspiring bodybuilder. I know. Sometimes being very admiring of Schwarzenegger and sometimes cringing and judging him, but often being surprised by him. And I've been surprised again by some of the stuff I've read in this interview with him. Surprised in good ways. The interviewer asks him about how he got to that understanding of having a responsibility for others. And then the interviewer bravely explains his curiosity this way. Because you could be a bully. You were disrespectful with women. You were driven primarily by thoughts of your own greatness. How does that guy transition into a person who realises the value of selflessness? And Arnie offers a few thoughts, including this. I noticed that in bodybuilding, I always felt the best when I could teach and help someone. One day I got a phone call from Wisconsin. They invited me to come to the university there where they have a program for the Special Olympics for people with disabilities trying to compete in the Special Olympics. And would I teach them about weight training? I only paid attention because it was Jackie Kennedy who called. I said, I can't say no to Jackie Kennedy, so I go. Then, of course, when she picked me up from the airport, I realised it was not that Jackie Kennedy. Too late to turn around, I go, and we started teaching Special Olympians how to bench press. The most unbelievable experience. You could see the change in those kids. I was blown away. I went home at night and said to myself, it's funny that I feel so good about this. I didn't make any money, and it was not a career move. And he says how it started there for him and hasn't stopped, this feeling that actually giving to people, helping people is the best feeling. So thanks, Arnie, for that one. It's not new news, but it's a good reminder. And I wonder sometimes how God is involved in that feeling for Schwarzenegger and for the rest of us. Seems to me, at least sometimes, it's like God whispering into your heart, yes, that is good. It's what I want. It's what I created you for. So the parable we read today is the last one in the Gospel of Matthew. And immediately after that parable, we get into the Passion story. So the arrest, the trial, the crucifixion, the resurrection. And this parable is also the end of Jesus' teaching in Matthew. So it's the climax of this long pep talk that we've been looking at for the last few weeks, from Jesus to his disciples. And did you notice that this time the parable is not just about the disciples or the Jews or believers? It started with, when the Son of Man comes as King, and the people of all the nations will be gathered before him, including Arnie, I guess. And the parable reinforces some of the Gospel's big themes. Jesus wants action, not just words. Merciful, compassionate actions of grace and kindness to those most in need. And in this image of a final judgment, the people of the nations are divided up on the basis of how they've demonstrated compassion and practical care for the least, the hungry, the thirsty, the strangers, homeless, the poor, the sick and the imprisoned. And the judge not only commends and rewards those who've shown compassion by responding with practical care for the needy, but he says, truly I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it to me. And they're so surprised, which is another feature of Matthew's gospel. The ones who are commended are so surprised, as well as the ones who get judged for their neglect, who are also very surprised. So there's something spiritual and something innate, isn't there, in every one of us that's connected to the act of giving. And over the next few days and weeks, the team that we are here at Coatesville Uniting Church, the Cooker team, we have the privilege of living out our faith and our spirituality by providing food for some who are hungry. The team here at Coatesville will continue with community care, which has been more in demand every month at the moment. The Cooker team will be gathering donations for Christmas hampers, putting those hampers together, making a huge difference in the lives of some of our neighbours. Our Cooker team here will be starting the adventure of offering a free food pantry for those in urgent need. And the Cooker team here will be supporting the great work of the Christmas Bowl, helping hungry people around the world to feed themselves. So we are blessed to have these opportunities and to have the team that we have here helping each other to do the giving, which is our spiritual calling. And we are blessed to build on the legacy of people in this congregation over the years who've built those traditions and expectations and teamwork. And that legacy includes the really important attitude of gratitude for what God has given us, how God has come to us in our times of need, and for the chance to give to others. So there's no room for us to be self-righteous or to be patronising or judgmental with people in need. When we remember the amazing and confronting punchline in today's parable, whenever you did this for the least important, you did it for me. So we thank God for our King, who comes to us in our need and comes to us in the needs of others. So let me finish this reflection time with a song by Digby Hannah that picks up these sorts of thoughts and also links them with the story of the road to Emmaus. Got the words to show on the screen, so as you pick it up, if you feel like joining in, feel free. It was me when you came that extra mile for company. It was me, your food, your drink, your time you gave to me. And I'll see you again when I come to reunite my friends. I was sick and you were there to share my pain. Without friends, without a home, you took me in. You came to me in prison, and I'll see you again when I come to reunite my friends. It was me when you came that extra mile for company. It was me, your food, your drink, your time you gave to me. And I'll see you again when I come to reunite my friends. Friends who sold their wealth and found rich poverty. Friends who came to serve and stayed through overseas. Friends who chose to go to prison to be free. Friends who loved no other more than me. It was me when you came that extra mile for company. It was me, your food, your drink, your time you gave to me. And I'll see you again when I come to reunite my friends. I'll recognize the hand that you held out to me. I'll recognize the tears and pain you felt left with me. I'll recognize the hope you gave to me again when I come to reunite my friends. It was me when you came that extra mile for company. It was me, your food, your drink, your time you gave to me. And I'll see you again when I come to reunite my friends. Let's worship God with our offering and sing together a new commandment.
A new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you. My lips will always know that you are my disciples. If you have loved one for another, my lips will always know that you are my disciples. If you have loved one for another, a new commandment I give unto you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you love one another as I have loved that you are my disciples, if you have loved one for another.
Lord, make us willing to share what we have, for without you, we have nothing. And help us to see the wealth of others as they share their gifts with us. And so together, may we work to build your kingdom. Amen.
Pretty little thing. It's a striped anemone, or sometimes called an armed anemone. This one has been flipped upside down. There you go. They are found in the tropical waters off Western Australia and are Australia's largest species of anemone. It can grow up to 20 centimetres in diameter, with tentacles up to 50 centimetres long. There you go. So on with our birthdays. There's only one this week. It's Bob Harvey, and Gwen's not even here to pass on our regards to him for his birthday. Any other secret birthdays? Nope. Okay. I actually don't have any notices, but I know Charlene wants to share some information with us about the Christmas Fun Day next week, so I'll pass over to Charlene.
We have an opportunity to show people in our community that we care for them. And this opportunity is happening this Saturday, Saturday the 2nd of December, 12 to 3. Brief rundown of what will be happening is up in the hall. We're going to have lots of different craft activities for young kids, plus we're going to have other activities for older kids and adults. And we will be having from between 1 and 3 different groups coming in performing in part of the hall, including Hughesdale Primary School and Woodwind Instrument Group that use our hall here for hire, a dance group, and Graham, help me out, drama group, and mini maestros who use one of the rooms during the week here. So it's going to be a fun activity. Also, it's in the gallery is going to be a launch of our library that Ruth and Janet and I have been setting up over the last many months. And we're inviting people from the community to come in. They can take a book, they can borrow a book. It's not asked to be returned, but if they would like to return it, that's fine. Giving people the opportunity to read a book, or that perhaps wouldn't be able to do it anywhere else. They might not be able to afford books and that. So that will be happening in the gallery. Plus there will be some air hockey and what's the soccer game called? There's a soccer game that I know the teenage kids or the elder primary school kids will enjoy playing up there. And then as you progress down into the hub area, there will be tea and coffee served, tables set up, and a few other activities if people want to be in a more quieter setting at some of the tables. And out in the front section will be the barbecue with the free sausage sizzle and the free drinks there. So there's going to be a lot of activity for anyone in the community that can come, and it's a way that we show that we care for them, and we're serving God by doing that. Now, I did last week put a sheet out on the table out in when we're having morning tea for people to fill in to volunteer. There is some gaps, so if they could be looked at, that would be great. The big ones, I'll just point out, tea and coffee. It's not serving tea and coffee. It's not washing dishes, because we've got a volunteer for that already. It's just for the serving of the tea and coffee, particularly in the first hour, 12 to 1. We need some people to volunteer for then. We've got the Christmas craft activities, that if people could help with that. And I just want to give you an example. We've got some tables that would just need a person to sit beside. There will be a chair provided, sit beside. For instance, we've got a little table that's going to have nativity scenes set up, so kids can come and explore. We've got a nativity puzzle and that. So it's an opportunity to maybe talk to kids that might not have seen a nativity scene before. So that's an example. And there's another small table that's going to be set up with colouring sheets of different things of the Christmas story, the birth of Jesus, and someone might like to volunteer to sit at that table and watch the kids colour in and maybe have a chat with them as they do it. Packing up afterwards. Many hands make light work, so if people would like to just help by doing one thing afterwards, put their name down on the list, that would be also great. So this is a wonderful opportunity. It fits really well to the Bible readings of today, doesn't it? That we're showing that we're caring for our community. So this is our opportunity. So if you'd like to be involved, just come and pop your name on any of the spots on the sheet on the table after church. That would be great. Thanks.
Lynn, do we need to hear anything about Food for Friends, or?
I'd just like to say the response to people manning the trolley outside RG8 has been so good this year. We only managed 4 days last week. We had to sort of consolidate it. There are 2 days, 3 to 4 wasn't very popular on the roster. So there are 2 days when we'll start at 4 o'clock. But apart from that, there are 1 or 2 people on from 4 to 7, and someone to come and unload the trolleys and bring the food back to the church. So thank you all so much for putting your hand up, because we have been very fortunate in the past. People have been very kind to us, and we ask for one thing: would you buy? We give them a little note that says we're collecting for the needy in our community. It's being done by Coatesville Uniting Church. Would you please perhaps buy one extra item when you do your normal shopping and drop it into the trolley as you leave? And some people do precisely that, and we do very well with what happens to be on special that week. Like if Monte Carlo's at $2.50 instead of $3, we will have an avalanche. People have bought one extra packet of Monte Carlos. Whatever the special is that week, we get. But lots of people don't stop at one extra item, they buy quite a lot. And we've been so fortunate in the past. And I know things are very hard for people this year. A lot of people are doing it hard, and a lot of people just don't look at you. They don't want to be asked, and you're not going to ask them either. But I'm hoping we've got 30 trolleys, 30 hampers to pack, but we will have a wonderful box for all of the people on our list this year. So thank you all, the people who've donated and already, and the people who are going to man the trolley, not this week, but Monday to Friday the following week.
Just before I start the prayer, for those who know me, I'm a very much a person that believes in focusing on positive, not the negative. And I don't know if you've noticed the banner that came up the other week saying united, we're united in love. And I think that's what we really need to focus on. We hear so much of the negative going on in the world through the media, and we've got to remember that that's a minority. There is so much positive stuff going on in the world as well. So I've written this prayer focusing on the positive, which I think is important that we keep in our mind. So let us pray. God, thank you for your love. Thank you for your caring. Thank you for hearing our prayers. Thank you for your support and companionship in our lives. Thank you for all the loving things in the world that you have given us. Thank you for the joy that you bring us. Thank you for the gift of your creation. Thank you for sending Jesus, who shows us how to follow and serve you. Let us be your servants and spread your love around the world. Amen.
Thanks, Charlie. Can you come and show us the crown? King Charlie, are you a monkey king, or are you no? What sort of king are you with that crown? King Charlie. King Charles, good name for a king. Thank you. Well done. Magnificent crown. And a good reminder for us too about Jesus, the King of Kings. Let's stand and sing together, Lo, the way is low.
Baby dressed in hay, the upper
Go now and embrace the hope to which God has called us. Recognise Christ in friend and stranger, and as Christ has been gracious to you, so be gracious to those in need. And may God give you a place of rest on rich pasture. May Christ Jesus be the shepherd king who binds your wounds, and may the Holy Spirit give you wisdom and reveal to you the fullness of the one who fills all in all. We go in peace to love and serve the Lord in the name of Christ. Amen.